It looks like we got a little camera angle issue here. Anyways, welcome to InfoCast, guys. The camera tilted back there a little bit. Almost fell off. Anyways, I'm here to talk about Death Stranding and some of Hideo Kojima's prior work on, like, the Metal Gear Solid franchise. There we go. But, yeah. Where do we begin? The reason I'm starting from Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, is because this is where I believe Hideo Kojima started going downhill. And what I mean by downhill is not that it was necessarily he started making bad games, but no, he's always bullshitted with his trailers because they used to turn out to be like movies mostly with the Metal Gear Solid franchise. And of course, you cannot deny the Metal Gear games have amazing gameplay, but most of the time you're walking, especially Metal Gear Solid 4, you're walking cutscene. And that whole game itself was really short. But what Kojima did deliver on Metal Gear was keeping it his vision, keeping it cutscenes, keeping it a good story. And then we come to Metal Gear 5, where he has had a lot of criticisms at the time. 2015, this game came out. The criticisms were that his cutscenes get too boring. They explain too much, and that is the case. And you will see that case come back with Death Stranding Part 1. And the reason, again, I'm on Metal Gear Solid 5 is because how disappointing this game was, even though it was an excellent game, gameplay-wise. I remember watching these trailers, and this is relevant because it's happening again with Death Stranding 2, is where he's showing all these cool cutscenes, cool trailers, and now I don't think it's going to end up like Metal Gear Solid 5, where he disappointed the Metal Gear fans. And the way he disappointed Metal Gear fans is he had a lot of repeating missions, and literally what we saw here made it seem like it's going to be this epic story game with a bunch of cutscenes, and he literally cut so many of them, and the ones he didn't cut were extremely boring, where literally you're sitting down in a truck at one of the villains, Skullface, and you're just sitting there, and you're thinking something's gonna happen, and then nothing. You just sat there riding a whole truck with him for absolutely no reason, and that's some of the shit that Kojima does that is just terrible. And again, I started with this to give you that idea, like, okay, he showed all these cool cutscenes, it was gonna be like a badass game. And it was a badass game, but it was a terrible story, in my opinion. I mean, not terrible. It was incomplete because of the whole situation with Konami. But the fact was that he didn't go the traditional route like he did with Metal Gear 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, now let's move on from here and let's go to the next thing I remember on one of his projects, him hyping up. And that was PT, and this is Shirako plays the full playthrough. Check it out and you'll get an idea, because I'm just gonna trim through it. And literally it was 2 hallways, it was a walking simulator, but it did things that games don't normally do. Like, for example, it's kind of traditional where you could plug in your mic and you could talk in the game and cause events to occur, similar to Metal Gear Solid 1 with Psycho Mantis and plugging in the second controller. And there was a lot of other situations in Metal Gear 1 that had little tricks like that. So that's what this game had. Each time you looped through the hallway, something different would happen, and eventually it kept going until it played the trailer with Norman Reedus in there and the hype up to Silent Hill 2. But then we all know what happened, because it didn't work out between Konami and Kojima, and then it never happened. Yeah, so we got all these other Silent Hill games, which I covered on the last InfoCast. Now, just a walking simulator. Let me see what this video is, because I'm not even sure. Okay, so it is Death Stranding 1, and I think basically it's showing off how much of the gameplay is just walking and hiking. Now, for the type of game Death Stranding is, I agree that it's a good walking simulator. And it does have scripted events. It does have events where you get to use guns and you get to shoot and you get to fight bosses. But then again, we saw the same things we saw in Metal Gear 5, where you got these same boss battles that kept repeating. You had to do side missions to unlock this main mission as like a little secret, but it was really just annoying. You just had to go online and see that to figure that out. Now, the difference with this game is, as you saw, there's roads there. People online work together, and if you played online, the game was a lot easier. If you played offline, you were going to have a lot of trouble because bridges weren't built, ladders weren't already placed, and it was always helpful to play online and see that people left things behind to help you out. That was very innovative of Kojima, but again, this was an 80-hour game it took me at least to beat, and it could have been squashed down to literally 8 hours of story and gameplay and would have been perfect in my opinion. I believe this whole 80-hour experience did not have to happen. Now, you might get those hardcore, like, hard truck simulator type of gamers that love to explore. And this is the game for exploring, no doubt. Like, there's later on in the game with the snow and the hiking and ice climbing are amazing. And as you see here, these are some of the scenes where you do actually get to shoot. And the game doesn't really pick up until as you progress, but like the gap in between is like horrible. It could be up to 10 hours before the next crazy thing advances in the story. So anyways, eventually after 80 hours you go to this island and then you fight the last boss, and then they even have a what do you call it? Not a prologue, epilogue, I think it's called. And later on they added DLC, which was reminiscent of Metal Gear Solid sneaking through a facility, and when it became a complete package, it was really fun. You know, I played the first version, I beat it, and then I got upgraded the PS5 version of it, and then I played the DLC, and I had fun with it again, but it is not the type of game people want to see from Kojima. Like, there needs to be more action to this game. There needs to be less annoyance, and squash the game down if you have to, and just keep all the extra hiking, exploring as a side mission or side quests. And they did have a lot of side quests, but don't make it be required to be a certain side mission to play a certain main mission. And yeah, I think with Death Stranding 2, it would be a lot funner, and it wouldn't leave us stranded into another walking simulator. So, let's just quickly see Death Stranding, how long to be. If you guys don't know about this website yet, it is fantastic to find out how long a main story is. Now, it says 40 and a half hours. Okay, maybe it did take me 40 hours. Maybe I'm mixing up with Metal Gear Solid 5, where it took me 80 hours. But I'm going to double check what the standard time was on that as well. So main and side stories, 60 hours. That's if you do the side missions. Then you got the completionist, 113 hours. It's possible I did this, but I didn't finish all the side missions. All styles, 57 and a half. I'm not sure what that means. All play styles, I guess. Yeah, it's not speedrunning, so I'm not sure. But here, 86 hours to be a completionist. Maybe it took me 80 hours to play because how much I got lost in the game. I'm not even absolutely true about that, but you never know. Like, I have to load up my saves and figure that out. But yeah, you got Ground Zeroes with that, which was kind of a demo before we got the Phantom Pain, and it was so overhyped. And I'm not going back on the subject. I'm just curious to see. Okay, there you go. It did take me 8 hours because I did the main quests, all of them, and I did all the side quests because there were secret side quests that unlocked the main quest. So Death Stranding did probably take me around 40 to 60 hours, and it really could have been a 8 to 10 hour game and told us the whole story. Moving on, Hideo Kojima. This quote right here has always bothered me because he makes really good games, but he always leans to movies, and that's the problem. That's the problem when you have someone trying to make movies and games and squash them together, where their main thought is let me make this into a movie first and then gameplay second. And I don't know if that was the case with Death Stranding. It did have a lot of cutscenes like that. That's one thing. Because he's such a big fan of movie directors and in the past watching Rambo and getting influenced from Escape from LA and New York and making Metal Gear, because he likes movies, we got to experience great games from him. But moving forward with Death Stranding 2, and again, look, you see he's just giving out all these cutscenes, hyping us with cutscenes and not gameplay. So what this is telling me is that it's going to be another walking simulator, which he's hinted that it's going to be a lot more action based, but I'm going to hold off on assuming that. And it looks like he's brought a ninja like in a guitar. Oh, that is weird. Okay, so he always does these crazy wacky things to overhype games, and then they kind of deliver and they kind of don't deliver. And he's known for his politics in the past. So he's saying he basically predicted COVID in the first part. No, you didn't. You just made a world where it could have been Fallout, and you just wanted deliveries to happen and exploration and some wacky story. But you did not predict COVID because you made a game. So that's one thing again that annoys me. He's one of the biggest drama queens, wanting attention, and instead of focusing on gaming, and it is his passion. It's just he's too overboard on things, and it could come from passion as well, but it comes a lot with wanting fame, and that's why he's got all these tweets. He's always overhyping things, but again, here's another trailer, and it's mostly cutscene. Oh, this is the same trailer I think we just saw. See, one good thing I'd give him is the character designs and the villains, and even though it's all wacky and weird, it always turns out interesting and fun. So, of course, I will play this game, and here's one thing that he doesn't follow the footsteps of Neil Druckmann, where he said that speech about women in gaming. They should look like Ellie from The Last of Us, is his vision of how women should look. And it may be subjective, but Kojima still does a great job portraying women in gaming. He does an excellent job, and that's one thing I will give him a lot of props for, compared to Neil Druckmann, who is even more of a drama queen than Hideo Kojima. I mean, like, Hideo Kojima's up here and Neil Druckmann's way down here. And I love that and that's what I mean, again, even though that was a lot of drama, I love how he poked fun of one of the reviews on the Metacritics for The Last of Us Part 2 when it came out. That was hilarious. I'm trying to filter myself. I was actually going to say that was Last of Us 2 was garbage for expectations. Even though it was a decent game gameplay-wise, the story was complete garbage. I'm trying not to change the subject here, but anyways, let's move on. Hideo Kojima. Now we're going to talk about Hideo Kojima says if your mother walks in on you playing his new action espionage game, she'll think you're watching a movie. Again, that is why we get these games that are mostly movies. And I think this is one of the new IPs it's talking about. He recently announced the return to action espionage genre. Now, This brings up a lot of concerns. It brings up a lot of concerns because it tells us that Death Stranding 2 is just going to be a sequel with more walking simulator. And even though he's adding more gunplay, and you saw that in the collector's edition when they upgraded it and put it on PS5, we did get a lot more guns, we did get a lot more action, we did get a lot more stealth. But I hope he makes that the main focus in Death Stranding 2, and again keeping the side stuff as exploration and walking simulator gameplay. And now the thing is, with his walking simulators, they are interesting because you have to think about how much load you're gonna take, like the sleds you're gonna take with you, your knots, your ladders, your all that. So it has some type of strategy element. So it's not just your typical walking simulator or horror walking simulator where you're just running or walking away from enemies, trying to survive. Oh, I'm so useless. I'm so pathetic. I'm running away instead of fighting back the creature, aka new generation Silent Hill games. But anyways, moving on, action espionage genre, it can be good news, but again, you're watching a movie. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be in the mood for that. Like, when I was younger, I had more time to just sit there through all of Metal Gear, and that last cutscene of Metal Gear Solid 4 was 1 hour and a half. Like, he should be required to have save slots for when you're watching a cutscene. You press start, you hit save, you quit the game, you come back, you start off exactly where you left off in that cutscene. Maybe someone can finally do that for gaming instead of just skipping, or maybe even rewinding and fast forwarding could help in a video game. You know, for games, for a lot of movie games, or games, or movies trying to be games, or games trying to be movies, whatever. Games trying to be movies, that's what the word I was looking for. They don't incorporate all the stuff we have with movies, like rewinding, forwarding, and they have done it with streaming now. Fell ill in 2020. He talks about. Oh, okay, I didn't know this. He had surgery. Wow. That's the other thing. Yeah, Hideo Kojima's 60 years old. I don't know how. He definitely has passion, because how can you be 60 years old and still want to do all this? I mean, you would think he'd want to retire at some point. But you never know. He'll probably start some game and when he's like 80, 90, 100, 70, however long he gets to live. He'll probably be working on a game till he dies. Who knows? That is like hardcore passion, and that is also why he is a mastermind. You know, I'm ragging on him a lot, but he is a mastermind. He's up there with Shigeru Miyamoto. Hope I pronounced that right. But yeah, they're two developers we've known since the 90s, and they've always been great. They've always been excellent, providing us with these games, giving us these games that are really fun to play. But it looks like it's going to be on Microsoft's console, I'm reading here, but I'm kind of skimming through, so that's something to look forward to. What I am hyped for, and this is rare nowadays with Kojima, I don't like to be hyped at all anymore, but then again, I'm also disappointed with this because Kojima teases fourth horror title. How's he working on all these games? There's like 4 games, and they're all like AAA. I don't use the quad A games. Yeah, screw you, Sony. That's a dumb word. Quad A. Or 4 A's. But yeah, AAA. AAA, here it is. Here's the teaser trailer. Very stupid trailer. Very. Like, after I saw this, I'm like, okay, maybe the hype died out. I don't give a shit anymore. But, like, he one time said that he wants to create a horror game that makes you shit your pants. Well, I don't know if he's leaning towards that and trying to add shit to make you look at shit and want to take a shit. Who knows, but he really needs to not show trailers for games when they're ready. And I get what he's doing here. He's showing, oh, look how realistic these faces are. I'm so happy about this. Like, look at that. Look at these emotions. Look at, like, dude, just show us the game when it's ready, man. Don't give us a trailer of this, and there's nothing really to see here. And it's called OD, Project OD. Oh, no. Like, show us why it's a horror game. And it says Xbox horror title. So, actually, this is probably the Xbox game they're getting from on Microsoft's side. And the tactical espionage action game is going to be the game for multiple consoles, which is probably a return to Metal Gear. Which I don't know why he wants to do that, but I'm looking forward to it. I kind of wish Sony would have bought the license to Metal Gear and then let him work on the next edition in the future with Raiden, give us an update to all the characters. And but then again, here's Konami, and they're remaking all the Metal Gear games. It seems that they're gonna start with Snake Eater and see the success on that, and I'm hoping they make the next iterations. They really should make a new game, and the way they can do that, or they can do a better remake. For example, when they're done with Snake Eater, don't jump to Metal Gear Solid 1 right away. Look at the MSX2 library that Kojima created. You got Metal Gear and you got Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. Those would be perfect to remake in 3D and give us those stories that branch the bridge, that connect both points from Metal Gear Peace Walker to Metal Gear Solid 1. Give us the Outer Heaven in 3D. Give us Zanzibar Land in 3D. And that would be perfect. But it's Konami. They're outsourcing this stuff. So it's probably going to be Snake Eater, Delta, Metal Gear Solid, some new name. Let's see, they're on Delta. I don't think they'll go to Echo, but you never know. Or maybe they'll call it Alpha and then go to Bravo, go in reverse. Charlie, who knows? But yeah, we're probably going to get Metal Gear Solid 1 next. Then we're going to get we might get Metal Gear Solid 2 remake. But then I don't know where you go from there. Do you go back to Peace Walker? Or do you go make a new one, Metal Gear Solid 6? I remember them saying they were going to make that, and then all the noise quieted down after that stupid survival game came out by Konami. Metal Gear, what was it, Survive or something? Some weird zombie one. Anyways, that's what I'd like to see, and if Kojima got that license, he could actually remake Zanzibar Land, Outer Heaven. I think, yeah, it was Outer Heaven first, then Zanzibar Land. And that was a story. I don't know if people are going to want to play this, but it continues this person's story, and I won't go into details on that. But this was my favorite game of all time from 2004 all the way to like maybe 2007 or maybe for 2012. I decided, you know what, Snake Eater's not the best game in my library. I'm gonna go with WoW. But if this was the best single player game, this is my favorite game of all time. So I am excited. I am happy they're making this, and this has nothing to do with Kojima. So this is Konami's chance to prove themselves that they can still dish out gameplay that's probably even better than Hideo Kojima's games. And the way they can make this better is to not just take his style of gameplay. Don't take the subsistence style of gameplay. Give it maybe the Metal Gear Solid 4 gameplay, aimer over the shoulder, swap between centered camera, whatever, give us all the options, I'd say. But that is one way to be successful with this. And this isn't the gameplay trailer. I think it's over here. The gameplay reveal. So what I'm looking at over here reminds me of the PS2 version exactly, which is a good thing. But when he's aiming, it's going into that first-person mode. I really hope they got another option that can snap over the shoulder. But if not, I mean, it's not a big deal. But this is basically Kojima's gameplay. And I think they were going to play that safe route because they don't want to upset fans. But having both options wouldn't be wrong. I mean, people who played Metal Gear Solid 4 will be easily able to pick this up and play it. Or Metal Gear Solid 5, over the shoulder camera. Fast-paced sprinting, even if you want to add that. But then again, that will for sure upset fans. Fans get really about that. So yeah, keep it nice and slow, steady. Sneaking around, but give us maybe some better shooting than the first person, because one thing, subsistence, it lets you rotate all around. So I think they're just gonna take that gameplay, because originally it was fixed camera angles that you couldn't really see everything, but then you could see certain things when you're sneaking around. Oh, and that's the big news right here, Unreal Engine 5, and a lot of games are doing that. And I'm gonna talk about Halo next on another episode about Unreal Engine 5, the next Halo. So look forward to that. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because I'm transitioning out of this episode and calling it here with Metal Gear Solid Delta, because that's all I have got to say with it. And again, that's Stranding. That was the main topic of this show. Will it leave us stranded in the end and just be another typical 80-hour experience for a little 5 hours, something they could have told us in a story in 5 hours? Or is it gonna actually be amazing? And I will get it. I'm done being hyped for Kojima games. I will be hyped for this game right here. It kind of sucks there isn't gonna be the whole Metal Gear Online, but I mean, they're making it for single player. All we're missing now after we get this is Silent Hill and then the whole SOCOM series. And I think after we get that SOCOM series, we'll finally be all set, right? Alright, thanks for watching, and Infocast is out.